All right, y'all. Welcome back. It's been a while since we've done this, but we're back again with the motherfucking Jaron Ikner show. This is my live streaming show where we talk about news that's going on in the world, latest current events, etc., stuff like that. So we got a lot going on screen-wise here. We're actually live on TikTok right now. We're going live on YouTube. We also are recording the vertical video for clips later on, and the full episode will be posted on my Jaron Ikner page, so make sure you check out for that. So wherever you're at, you can get some of this action. I think the best way to watch it is probably on YouTube because there's all kinds of cool graphics that I put together and stuff like that. Hella fancy. Just hella fancy. Anyways, what is the Jaron Ikner show? Some of you are wondering, well, people actually seem to value my opinion. I guess. I don't know. For some reason, they just do. So, I've been doing this for a while, this live streaming shit, up in this game, making it happen, papping. And, we're back again with another episode. People want me to go back in. I think right now, with the climate that we're dealing with and the environment that we're dealing with, I think it's even more important for, for someone to have a voice. And I'm not saying that I'm necessarily that voice, but I guess at the same time I am. But we're going to talk about a couple different things, several different things on today's episode. I got a list. Like I said, if you're watching this on YouTube, you see a bunch of graphics up here that have all my cool, fancy stuff. We got a list over here. It's right here. Boom. So first up is that we're going to talk about Elon Musk. I know what you guys are thinking, oh my God, probably already clicking away, whatever. It's fine. But we're talking about his kid in particular. So if you haven't seen the footage, it's causing the whole tizzy of this man basically giving an address behind the Oval Office. He interrupted the president's address, pulled up, and he brought his son with him on his shoulders. A lot of jokes going around about that. It is what it is. But the main thing that I'm taking away from this is the idea that all this footage is going viral of Elon Musk's kid saying a bunch of wild and crazy stuff to Trump and other people around. In particular, something that's going viral is the fact that he literally told the president something along the lines of, you're not supposed to be president, or you're not president anymore. And that was like a whole thing. Like, basically, like, my whole assessment of that situation comes down to the fact that if a kid at that age is parroting that type of stuff, like saying those things, he probably learned that behavior from somewhere. That's my guess, is that that's learned behavior from either his parents or peers or whatever. So when I see a little kid sitting here saying things like, oh, you're not supposed to be president, or et cetera, so forth, it probably has a lot to do with things that his father or his dad is saying. That's my guess. And I might be wrong, but chances are is that Elon's been saying this stuff too around him. This kid's picking up on this. Also, the thing about kids that age too is that kids get a reaction out of saying certain things. So if he said this before in a previous situation, then there's a good chance that he got a reaction out of it. And so now he's just going around saying, this is how kids work. Kids are goofy like that. Kids are goofy as shit. But it is what it is. I mean, I think that when it comes to that, I think it's kind of disrespectful doesn't matter who the president is or whatever. I think it's disrespectful in general to just like pull up on someone else's address and take it over and start talking about bureaucracies and all kinds of crazy, shady stuff like that. And there's a lot to unpack from that. I think that overall, I think Elon Musk is a net positive, I guess, overall when it comes to what he's been doing with, Starlink, Teslas, et cetera, so forth. But I think a lot of the things that you're seeing with him is a lot of hubris and ego coming to light. And I mean, I think it was a post on Reddit that talked about how, like, essentially this dude is just playing like a giant video game and we're all NPCs to him. And I wouldn't be surprised if one of his goals right now is to try to bang Melania in the White House. You know what I'm saying? It's like a bet. Almost like betting on how effed up can you make things with the position that he's in. Keep in mind, he's the richest person on the planet right now. And since we put so much value into money and all this stuff, it means that he has a lot of power because he has so much money, right? And so people are willing to bend to his whim because of the position of power that comes with that money. And so it gets really frustrating because I don't think money really matters on that level. And I think Elon Musk is kind of a dork. I don't necessarily like fault him for that. I think that when it comes to him being Elon Musk, he's a nerd. Just like most billionaires are, they're nerds. When it comes to Jeff Bezos, that dude's a nerd, bro. You can look at his wife. Yeah, his wife is some Latina chick that he cheated on his previous wife, who was a down chick. Look up Mackenzie, by the way. I forget her last name, but Mackenzie Bezos, whatever. She's currently giving away all of her money right now. All of her money to basically anybody. I'm not anybody. I'm not sure if you person watching this can pull up to Mackenzie's house and ask for $1, but she might give you some. I think she's giving away like something like $18 million so far. I can actually look this up real quick. Mackenzie Bezos. Mackenzie Scott's her name. First of all, let me get this right. Get her, because she deserves the respect. Let's see. Mackenzie Scott. Hold on. How much has she donated? So far, Mackenzie Scott has donated $2 billion just this year alone. A total of $19.2 billion is what Mackenzie Scott has donated to other charities. And her whole goal is just to give away all of Jeff Bezos' money that she got from basically him cheating on her with some Latino chick. So and basically the thing about the point I'm trying to make here is with these nerd ass billionaires, Bill Gates, et cetera, so forth, is that, when you get into that position of power, you want to take it to the max. It's almost like that movie, Chronicle, one of my all-time favorite movies. I'm not sure if you guys ever seen this movie, but if you get a chance to see Chronicle, go watch Chronicle, because that's what I think about when it comes to the kid who got the powers and kind of took it too far. That's what I think about when it comes to Jeff Bezos. Is that not Jeff Bezos, sorry, Elon Musk. Is that Elon Musk has all this power. He's in the position to where he can do whatever he wants, and he's not using it in a way that's necessarily positive or going to save anybody. It's more about his own hubris and him trying to essentially, feed his own ego, which I think all billionaires are trying to do. And I'm not over here trying to go on an anti-billionaire rant. That's not like why I'm here. But when you look at his kid and like the people that he's raising, circling back to the main point here, it's like it gets scary because you think about the next generation, like the people who's following them, like the people who like really are trying to look up to this man and like see him as a legend, et cetera, so forth, which he is in his own right. He's done some legendary stuff. Starlink. There was a Starlink launch a couple nights ago, and that was pretty awesome. I'm saying, like, I saw that. I'm like, man, we're going so far in technology, and it's because of Elon Musk's funding, not necessarily his brain power, but his funding that has gone towards creating this really cool network. Although that is kind of shady. If I'm not sure if you guys watched the Super Bowl where they had the commercial where they said that T-Mobile is now linked with Starlink. So if you're on T-Mobile right now, like if you're watching this on TikTok or if you're watching this on your phone, I think they already have it set up so where we're all on Starlink. I have T-Mobile too, so we're all on Starlink right now. And I mean, there's obviously some positives to that, but there's a lot of negatives to that as well that simply come down to the fact that all of our data is now in the hands of this man. And I think a lot of that fear wouldn't be there if he wasn't moving the way that he's been moving. Because dude's been moving kind of weird, dude. Like, he's just been doing like weird stuff. And like the whole White House thing, the whole like presidential address, all that stuff, it's the kind of vibe that is ominous towards the future. Because I guarantee one of the things that's going to happen here is that you're going to start to see a clash of ego between our president and Musk. You're going to start to see their egos clash a lot because they're both egotistical people and they're both driven by ego. Now, you would hope that they would, squash all that for the sake of the country, the sake of America, yada, yada, yada. But I think that's not going to be the case. I think what you're going to see is that you're going to start to see things implode. And it's going to happen at a rapid rate just because of how fast things are moving. I think people predicted this was going to happen, but not at the speed that you're already seeing it with like Elon Musk, like, pulling up to freaking conferences that he wasn't invited to, not even as elected official. But it is what it is. I think at the end of the day, I just say buckle up, y'all. Buckle up, because there's a lot of a lot more shady stuff that's going to be going down over in the streets of Washington now that you got Elon Musk basically acting as president. So, I mean, you guys look at that how you want to, but it's getting scary over there. I'm just happy to be alive, happy to be able to create content and do what we're going to do. Once again, if you're watching this on TikTok, head over to YouTube over at Starstruck Multimedia. You can get the graphics and all the cool stuff, or you can not. Actually, don't give a fuck. Doesn't matter. We're moving on to the next topic. We're talking about the Super Bowl. So that the Super Bowl was, a very hot topic. Everybody's talking about Kendrick Lamar. He had the most watched performance in Super Bowl history, beating Michael Jackson by a point million. So I guess Michael Jackson had 133.4 million people watch the Super Bowl versus Kendrick Lamar, who had 133.5 million. So Kendrick Lamar has the most watched Super Bowl in the history of the Super Bowl, and apparently he had the most watched event ever since the moon landing or something like that. That's what people were saying, which is just crazy. I didn't think the performance was that incredible to where he, is getting that type of accolades, but I do appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Especially as a black man, rock on. But I want to talk about who should play the next Super Bowl. Like, who is the next person in line? I'd love to hear your guys' theories. Chime in if you're on YouTube, or chime in if you're on TikTok, or who you think should play the next Super Bowl. I have a list. I have a short list. I have ideas kind of based off of like what we've been dealing with. I think that I don't even know actually where the Super Bowl is next year. Where is the Super Bowl at next year? Let me actually look this up real quick. The next Super Bowl. You guys on TikTok get to hear my clicks. Next Super Bowl is at fucking California. Is the next Super Bowl. Levi Stadium in California, which is crazy. That's the home of the San Francisco 49ers, apparently. So anyways, doesn't necessarily matter. Come out saying they should get E40 to do the Super Bowl. I think that's actually a misconception that just started happening with the Super Bowl, that started with Dr. Dre, where because Dr. Dre was from LA, and the Super Bowl was in LA, it's like, oh, we should get the theme, we should get the artists from the city that the Super Bowl's in, because that's something that we do now. That was never a thing before, by the way. That was never a thing before in the Super Bowl previously, where it's like, oh, this person. I mean, I feel like it kind of should be, but the Super Bowl was here in Arizona a couple of years ago, and I don't know who you would have brought out for that. Maybe Linda Ronstadt, maybe Stevie Nicks. I mean, if you pulled out Fleetwood Mac for the Super Bowl, it actually would have been kind of lit. But I digress. The point is that there's this weird misconception of well, the Super Bowl is in this city, so now we have to bring out someone from that city to play the Super Bowl. I think that's bullshit. We should go ahead and just get that rule out immediately and not do that. So in terms of the short list of people who I would get on the Super Bowl, you gotta cater to all the audiences. I think part of the controversy with Kendrick Lamar is the fact that he didn't cater to quote unquote the white people or the old people, et cetera, so forth. And the Super Bowl is an all-inclusive event. You know what I'm saying? You have 100 million people, 200 million people watching the entire Super Bowl. And so it's a thing where it's not just oh, well, this is just for hip hop or this is just for whoever. It's universal. So you have to find that balance between someone who can actually bring in all these different audiences or has music with universal appeal. So off rip, the first person who's come to my mind in terms of who should play the Super Bowl first is actually Mariah Carey. And I'll break it down to y'all. Mariah Carey, by far, is one of the most successful artists to have not played the Super Bowl yet. For some reason, the only reason I can think of why she hasn't played the Super Bowl yet is probably because she has been she's been rejecting it. She's been declining it. But when you look at her catalog, she has universal songs. She's got the power ballads. She's got the songs with the rappers. So she can get Gucci Mane on there. She can get Mace. She can get Bone Thugs and Harmony. She can get all kinds of rappers on there if you want to go that route. But then she can also just shut it down for power ballad, doing Hero or something like that. And then she got a couple of boppers too. You know what I'm saying? She's got the little the songs like Fantasy and songs like that I think would actually be a universally accepted set. I think it would go over very well. Also, another option is Doja Cat. Now, I think Doja Cat's a little young, but The Weeknd did it not too long ago. And, but The Weeknd also had Blinding Lights, which is like one of the most successful songs of all time. But the thing about Doja Cat is that I think that she already has proven that she can handle that stage. When she played Coachella a couple years ago, she has shown that she can handle that level and that she can do some stuff. Now, with that said, she has a couple songs that I definitely don't think should be played on the Super Bowl stage, like Wet Vagina, for example. But that also makes me think about Kendrick Lamar's set, to where, like, I think the biggest issue that I had with Kendrick Lamar's set came down to the fact that he was doing a bunch of songs that, like, just weren't familiar enough with enough people. That's why he's getting so much backlash from, like, the audience, because, like, he does have a few hits that are, like, massively huge hits, like Humble, All Right, All the Lights, which he actually did do. But when you're doing brand new songs like Peekaboo and TV Off, that literally have been out less than a month on an album that did okay, like selling wise, I mean, what else are you expecting other than people just to be sitting there trying to figure out what the song is? Because I think a lot of people just simply didn't hear the music before it came out, and so it's going to hit different. But that's the thing about the Super Bowl, and this is all my personal opinion. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong about that, but I believe that the Super Bowl is like reserved for like legendary stage. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that Kendrick Lamar is not a legend. Definitely not saying that. But what I'm saying is that, like, it has to be songs that have to be universally, like, known, like songs that are just like, oh, everybody recognizes the songs you could not avoid regardless. He simply doesn't have that catalog. And I've debated with people about this, like, over and over and over again over the last summer months. When they announced Kendrick Lamar, I was arguing with people on Facebook about it, saying people that I don't think he has the catalog for that. And I was kind of right, but I do think that his set was actually pretty incredible in terms of how he handled that, in the sense that it was like, he had this really cool presentation with Samuel Jackson. I thought the PlayStation controller thing was cool. I thought everything was pretty actually cool and tight, except for like the actual song selections. But going back to my my list here, I think Adele is actually Super Bowl worthy at this point. Adele is actually one of the most successful singers of our time. Now, Adele don't be dancing. That's the thing. So she got to figure something out. Maybe come out on like a boat or something like that. But I think that she would be a great choice. And my sleeper, I guess, ghost choice would actually be Tyler, the Creator. Now, people be like, oh, Tyler, the Creator is not anywhere near the level. But actually, when you look at the accolades this dude has done over the last several years, I actually think he'd be amazing at a Super Bowl performance. Now, do I think he'll ever get a Super Bowl performance? No, I don't think that'll ever happen. But that's just me kind of dreaming. But tell me who you think should play the next Super Bowl or the next several Super Bowls. Tell me in the comments. I'll read them at some point. I think we got a couple comments here. What's up? What's up, Patrick? He played the Super Bowl in 2022 and he played all those songs, so he just had to play something a little different. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, he also just played the Super Bowl 2 years ago, so it's not like he was going to do anything different. And I think with that too, I think the album should have came out well before the Super Bowl, which it kind of did. I guess it could have came out as early as it could for the time he had to make it and then put it out. But part of it too is the fact that, like, it's a risky move to try to do brand new songs on the largest stage that the artist can play on. You can't expect that to hit. People are going to sit there and just trying to, like I said, listen to the lyrics and figure out what the hell you're doing. But I digress. Moving on to the next topic. We're talking about, what do we got here? We got the Duolingo owl. So the motherfucking Duolingo owl. First of all, Duolingo, bro. So I started doing Duolingo because I was trying to learn how to speak Japanese. Because at some point I was planning a trip to Japan. That trip got canceled. I'm not going anytime soon. It is what it is. But I was on Duolingo for a bit, trying to basically figure out how to speak Japanese. And I'll tell you what, man, Duolingo is a very aggressive app. Extremely aggressive in terms of like the notifications you get. If you don't go on Duolingo like every day, it will harass you. Like, it will literally send you like big ass green text on your screen saying, where the fuck you been? Of course, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what it says. It's intense. And so part of their recent marketing that they've been doing is that they literally basically quote unquote killed off the Duolingo owl. They killed the Duolingo owl. And they said that the Duolingo owl was killed via hit by a Cybertruck. They said that the Duolingo owl was hit by a Cybertruck, people. That's what we're dealing with right now. So this is all marketing, but I have to give Duolingo their props because they are so aggressive with their marketing, and they're also like, they're actually kind of creative, and like, I wouldn't call them innovative because they're just basically just kind of crossing the lines of ethics when it comes to just like being like, no, we're just gonna blow up this dude's phone. We're gonna send him 14 messages to let him know that he needs to go to do his Japanese lesson, and it works. They're very profitable. I actually listened to a great podcast from Duolingo. It wasn't from Duolingo, but it was like how stuff was made, and they interviewed the founder of Duolingo, who actually, by the way, is the inventor of the CAPTCHA. Bet you didn't know that. Yes, the CAPTCHA, the motherfucking CAPTCHA that where you put the letters in. He's the guy who invented Duolingo. Learn some shit. Go check out that podcast. Anyways, moving on. We can go watch this on YouTube if you want to see the graphics and all that. But we're going live on TikTok too because I haven't been on TikTok in a minute, man. I was doing a bunch of content on here and dropping videos, and I was gaining momentum, and then they're talking about deleting the app and shit, and then they got all crazy and just shady, and I was like, I don't even want to be on this app. But then I realized that I had a bunch of people who fuck with me on here, and I had people actually ask me like, how come I don't post on TikTok anymore? And I explained it to them, and I sounded kind of stupid as I was explaining it. So we're here on TikTok, and I might be posting more content, but whatever, dude. Whatever, dude. We're talking about Starbucks next. So with Starbucks, did you hear what was going down with Starbucks, bro? So they are being sued currently because essentially what's happening is that they're being sued by white men because white men are saying that Starbucks has too many females and too many minorities. Basically not enough white men working behind the counter. And so they're facing a massive like class action lawsuit damn near, talking about the fact that they need to hire more white males at Starbucks. And so, first of all, I'm not going to try and get too deep into the DEI conversation, at least not on this episode. We'll save that for another time. But this obviously is a DEI conversation, and equality and equity and inclusion and diversity, et cetera, so forth. But here's the thing about Starbucks, bro. Like, when most baristas and most like places that serve coffee are like female driven, and it's kind of like the Hooters argument, right? Like, I don't go to Hooters for the sake of seeing a dude serve me a beer, right? It's usually the girls in the orange shorts with the big old titties, and they come in and they're serving you a drink. And people go to Hooters for that experience. Now, with that said, going to Starbucks is a little bit different because Starbucks ain't doing that, but there are places that do that, like the Bikini Bean and all those places like that, where they just have girls in bikini clad outfits just trying to sell you coffee. But the point is the reason why these even exist to begin with is because intrinsically speaking, typically speaking, and I'm being very gentle with this wordage because I know people are sensitive, but most coffee places have females behind the counter. And when I say most, I mean in the same way that like most airplanes have female flight attendants. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be a male flight attendant. It's just not as likely as a female flight attendant. And so it's the same kind of vibe with Starbucks. You pull up a Starbucks and motherfuckers are going to be females 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10 when I go to Starbucks, which is not very often, it's a female behind the counter. Now, is it a white female? I actually don't remember. I live in Arizona, so I don't think so. I think actually most of the time it's probably not a white female. It's probably like Mexican chick or something else. But the point is that when we're sitting here trying to parse down who's serving our coffee down to the color of our skin, you can really start to see our country start to unravel. And like I said, I'm not trying to turn this show into like a political rant, but I do know that there's things that I need to talk about and things that need to be addressed, which is why I decided to bring the show back, because at the end of the day, dog, like shit's kind of fucked up out here, dog. We're now totally making judgments based off of color of skin, basing off of et cetera, so forth. And I know what people are thinking, like, oh, well, the DEI argument is not people being judged off the color of skin. It's like, no, bro, like, literally, like, my damn ancestors, my grandma, my grandparents, and aunts and great aunts and uncles, and et cetera, so forth, have fought for the ability for me to even, like, kind of sit here and even be able to, like, make this content in, like, a free way without being able to, like, be harassed or, like, have, like, a cross burned on my fucking lawn, or, like, you know, get drug on the street like Emmett Till, or all the other fucking atrocities, burned or sprayed down by a hose, or being, like, bitten by dogs, or chased by the police, or, you know, treated unjustly, treated like 3/5 of a person. You know, I have people in the streets that have, or people in my family that have done sit-ins and, you know, had to deal with sharecropping and all kinds of stuff, just for the ability for me to be able to sit here comfortably and have an interracial. I have a white wife that's in another room right now, and living in Arizona, which is like one of the most racist states in the country, but I still feel somewhat safe and protected because of the rights that my ancestors fought for. And so that's where my mind goes, because people keep parsing DEI up to, like, oh, motherfuckers are just hiring black folks to hit quotas and shit. And it's like, it goes way deeper than that, dog. It goes way, way deeper than that. And if you're the type to parse it up to, oh, quote unquote, black guys getting a job over me, then obviously you have a little bit of an issue that goes goes much deeper than you getting the job or not. And that's kind of what I'll leave it up to, because the fact that Starbucks is catching all these lawsuits now because they basically essentially were quote unquote practicing DEI, it's a slippery slope, and it's kind of scary. This is speaking as a black man with a white wife, like I said, and a multiracial child in America, where I was hoping that these things would actually become less and less of an issue as I got older. But they become more and more scary as time goes on, to where it's like, I don't know how things are going to turn out. And it's hard to have conversations with my 13-year-old son as he starts to, you know, get a bigger grasp of what the world's actually like and what we're actually dealing with out there. Like, he starts to really grasp what it's like out there. It's like, man, it's hard to, like, ensure that things are going to be all right at this point, just in terms of how the country's going. And I know that sounds dramatic as shit, and people are probably like, oh, you're so dramatic, oh my God, it's going to be fine. Maybe I'm all wrong, and maybe I'm just making this shit all up, and this is all this whatever, right? That's what I pray for. I hope that, like, sometimes, like, that I'm wrong, but history may not repeat itself, but it does rhyme. And when I look, I spent a lot of time recently watching a lot of World War II, Nazi Third Reich documentaries and things on Hitler recently. It's just why, I don't know, the YouTube algorithms just give me that shit. But the things that I've been seeing and the patterns that I've been seeing with this is scary, bro. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know if we're going to be all right. I don't know if we're going to be all right, because, like I said, history may not repeat itself, but it does rhyme. And when you look at the rhythms of certain things that are happening in the way that they're happening, y'all just need to buckle up, man. Buckle up, because it's going down. That's all I'm going to say. Like, I'm not trying to scare y'all. We're going to go ahead and move to the next topic, because we're trying to keep this a tight hour for the Jaron Ikner Show. And if you guys do appreciate this, if you guys like this episode, please like the video. Please share it. We're going to be clipping this up, and there'll be all kinds of clips all over the internet of my face. And I haven't decided if we're going to do this daily. Probably not daily, if I'm being dead ass honest about it. Weekly, monthly. Probably not monthly either, because that's crazy. So probably weekly. Maybe bi-daily. That's not a thing. Bi-weekly. Bi-daily. Yeah, bi-daily is right. We'll see. But with that said, can I make a freestyle? I could. Or you can just go listen to my music. I'd be rapping. I'm not going to rap right now. I'm not in rapper mode. I'm in commentary host mode, Mr. Haas. But what you could do is you could head over to my website at jaronikner.com. Sorry, jaronikner.life. And you can actually check out my last album called Under Umbras, which has been out for a while now, but people like it. So if you like rap music, go check that out. There might be a link in my bio. Head over to my bio. And while you're over at my bio, fucking follow me. Appreciate you. Anyways, we're talking about, what do I have next on these topics? Oh yeah, this next one's crazy. So Lake Illinois, Lake Illinois. Now I know what you're thinking. What is Lake Illinois? There is no Lake Illinois. That's not a thing. Lake Illinois is not a thing. I know there's a lake in Michigan. Well. Yes, there is a Lake Michigan. It's part of the Great Lakes. But it turns out that Trump changing over the Gulf of Mexico to a Gulf of America has created a chain reaction of sorts, a flow of things where now people feel like, oh, we're just gonna start claiming lakes and we're gonna start claiming rivers and whatever. So the governor of Illinois actually decided that Lake Michigan is now no longer Lake Michigan. It is now Lake Illinois. And I don't know if this is official Cree. I don't know if he's got the plug on Google or whatever. But essentially, he just it's like, yo, I'm sick of tired calling this Lake Michigan. We're calling it Lake Illinois now. So now they're trying to make it official to where they're changing Lake Michigan to Lake Illinois. And for me, in terms of this particular instant, I don't actually give a fuck. Like I'm not over here like, oh my god, I'm gonna miss. Like I'm not tripping about it like the Gulf of Mexico. I'm tripping more about the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America thing, more than the Lake Michigan thing. But part of that has to do with the fact that it's unnecessary to change the Gulf of America. Sorry, the Gulf of Mexico to the the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. It's just not a necessary move. It's a once again, it's a hubris thing and it's an ego thing that really serves no other purpose other than just to like make us feel better about our country, patriotism. I don't know. But changing Lake Michigan to Lake Illinois, that's just some petty shit. I don't know if Michigan and Illinois got beef. I don't know if they be beefing. Maybe someone could fill me in if someone's from Michigan on here or from whatever. Do you guys have beef with Illinois? Why are you doing this? It's the thing. But yeah, I did some research on this and it's crazy because you don't really expect things to happen that way where it's like, oh, we're just going to change the name of a lake real quick because we wanted to. So I'm going to read this little excerpt real quick. And if I'm on the edit on the actual page, there might be something on the screen, but on the live version, there's not. Come too lazy to set it up. But the point is that he says, he being Governor Pritzker, that's Pritzker. He said, I am here today to make an important announcement. The world's finest geographers, experts who study the Earth's natural environment, have concluded a decade-long council and determined that a great lake deserves to be named after a great state. So today I am issuing a proclamation declaring that hereinafter Lake Michigan shall be known as Lake Illinois. The proclamation has been forwarded to Google to ensure the world maps reflect this monumentous change. And that's actually something that I wanted to talk about for a minute that just kind of sparked my head is how much power Google has right now. Like when it comes to like our ability to like understand the world and what the world is, Google kind of has us in a chokehold, bro. Like from GPS to their search engines to their maps, they have a lot of power, bro. And I'm saying this on I'm streaming live on a Google Pixel right now. I'm on a Pixel like the 6 or 7, I don't remember. I got a Pixel 7 over here. And it's kind of crazy when you going back to like the original argument about like billionaires and like the nerd shit that they be on. Google has been on, they started in a garage, bro, and now they're like all over the place. They're on your phone. They got all your emails. They got all your video watching habits. They got the internet browser. They got the Waymo cars, and they're doing like the self-driving cars. They got Google Maps, which I already mentioned. They got the phones. They got what else do they got? Am I missing here? They got all kinds of shit, bro. And the thing about that's scary is that like as they continue to embed themselves into our lives, it becomes more and more apparent how much of a crutch it has become for the human existence. Like I do deliveries from time to time just for like extra money, and I use a lot of GPS. I be GPSing everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And to the point where like I be knowing this country, this city, at the back of my hand. I don't necessarily think I need GPS sometimes, where it's like, if you tell me the intersection, I could probably figure it out, right? Kind of know Phoenix pretty well. But if you drop me in LA, or if you drop me in Denver or something like that, I need my GPS to get through that city. I don't even know where I could buy a map in 2025. Like, if I just wanted to use like an old school, like fold out paper map, I don't even know where I would buy one. Like, it's kind of scary to think about, because it's like, you literally, and then you also give them all your data too, unless you turn off your location and all that stuff. But you're literally giving all this information to this corporation that is kind of building this whole brain around you. Now, part of me, if you know me well enough, I'm all about that shit. I'm all about the singularity. I'm all about pushing forward and finding new solutions and connections in the human existence as we push towards that point of singularity where we all become one thing, one energy, one whatever, right? And so I really wanted to be able to, when it comes to AI and comes to Google, I think Google is on the right track towards that path, but it's going to get bumpy between now and then because of the bureaucracy around it. Just the amount of money that's being made on ads, how much they can make off your data by selling your data to third-party companies or whoever. And right now I'm going live on TikTok, and you know the whole story about TikTok at this point, right? I'm going live on YouTube, who's, once again, another Google service, and all this information is just going through their servers, and millions of people around the world are doing this right now, right? To the point where it's like, you are going to essentially give them your entire brain. 45 if you're lucky. But the point is that I'm not trying to say that you guys should be afraid of AI, or that you should be like, oh no, the robots are coming, bro. They're coming to get us, bro. But at the same time, I'm kind of saying that you just be careful of like how you navigate things, because especially with like the deep fakes are getting crazy, bro. The deep fakes are getting crazy. We're already getting to the point where we're making like damn near perfect photos. I saw something on Reddit the other day that was just like a flawless photo of a chick sitting on a washing machine. Flawless, AI generated. Give it 6 months, we'll be able to do the same thing with video. Give it a year, we'll probably be making full ass movies with AI, Chat GPT 5, etc., so forth. Give it 2 years, we're all gonna have, like, almost mandatory, we're gonna have AI assistants and agents on our new phones. So my prediction here, the way that that's gonna work, is that it's gonna literally probably be like a part of a new service, kind of how 5G came out and we had to like get 5G phones in order to have the 5G service. There's going to be a 6G or a 7G that's going to be for AI that we have to get if you buy a Pixel 12 or if you buy a Samsung 45 or the fucking the phone is called. It's going to, I mean, they already are including AI in these phones, but it's going to be mandatory. And these AI agents are going to be owned by these companies that are just going to take our data and use it against us. I don't like to say against us, but that's the best way to describe it. Use it against us. It's going to get scary, man. It's going to get scary out there. But like I said, I'm not here to scare you. I'm mostly just here to shoot the shit. This is the Jaron Ikner Show. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, because I'm actually done with all the topics today. People were, I was talking to my wife and she's like, are you going to really do 5 topics? And I'm like, yeah, I think that works, because I'm just going to fire these off. If you guys want to say something in the comments, which a few of you have, and I guess I could scroll back a little bit and read some of these comments, but you can, and I'll read your comments live. But for me, this is kind of just getting some stuff off, some thoughts off. Some people have been missing me and saying that they want me to go and make these type of videos more often. I used to go live all the time. There's actually a point in time when I went live every single day for like 100 days straight on Facebook. That was fun. It was called Mental Motivation. Morning Motivation, not Mental Motivation. And yeah, we stopped doing that. That was like 4 years ago. But now we're back. So hopefully if you guys like this, follow the page. Go check out JaronIkner.life.com for more about who the hell I am, how to pronounce my name, all that bullshit. In the meantime, like I said, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, I appreciate you watching on YouTube. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this recorded version that I got over here on OBS. We're going to clip it up, add graphics, make it all fancy, and that will be available on my Jaron Ikner page. So make sure you follow that on YouTube. And then we also got the vertical video recording over here. So I'll be clipping this shit up, and you'll probably be seeing these clips over on YouTube, or not YouTube, TikTok. So on my TikTok family, I'll be back with clips. So if you guys have any news stories that we should be talking about on the Jaron Ikner Show, send them over to me so that your DM or whatever. I'm always looking for interesting stories. One of my favorite places to get stories is Not the Onion on Reddit, where it's just like ridiculous headlines that happen to be true. That's where I got a lot of these stories today. So if you guys have a crazy story that you want to share with me, hit my inbox, send it over to me. If not, just fucking tune in for the next show. I love y'all. Stay safe. We are out of here. Peace. Peace. Peace.